Iris Zimmermann won the Cadet World Championships in Paris in 1995 at the age of 14, becoming the first American fencer ever to win a world championship. This moment is a milestone in the emergence of USA fencing as an international power.
Here I am, this 14-year-old, and I made grown men cry. They heard the national anthem for the first time. Like George Kolumbatovich came up to me afterwards, and Michael Marks. And these are guys who have been in fencing for so many years. And Michael Marks was an excellent fencer. And I'm up on that podium and I'm listening to the national anthem. And Michael Marks is like tears running down his face. And I'm thinking, this is amazing. I've done something. I've done something. I don't know what, but I'm 14. I've done something. And the surreal thing is, here I'm in Paris, lights flashing. People come up to me and like, finally, you know, someone other than European can win a competition. And, you know, the national anthem is playing, and then I go back to 8th grade. I mean, it's so surreal. I get on a plane and I go back to 8th grade.
Iris would be a pivotal figure in American fencing coming of age. She would go on to win a second Cadet World Championship, as well as a Junior World Championship. At the age of 19, Iris would be the first fencer in decades to medal at a Senior World Championship. And then, in 2001, in the World Championships in Nîmes, France, she would be part of a record-breaking performance in the team competition with her women's foil teammates, Ann Marsh, Erin Smart, and her sister Felicia. But Iris' career would be marked by controversy, by the need to reconcile her youth with the high expectations of the fencing community, by chronic injury and devastating losses, and by the emotional strain of competing against her sister Felicia, who was also her greatest ally and advocate.
I would be with my mom. My mom was carrying me. I was 2 years old, a very heavy 2-year-old with pink frilly dress and patent leather shoes. And Buckie still remembers giving me a little foil and in those little shoes hitting a point on the wall as soon as I could walk, basically.
Iris came of age as the women's foil team began knocking down the psychological barriers that had undermined American success internationally. Her story is inseparable from that of the women's foil team, and it builds on the success of other fencers that came before her, including Mary Jo Clinton, Ann Marsh, Felicia Zimmermann, and Susie Paxton.
I mostly listen to my teammates. I don't really hear anybody else. I hear my team cheer for me when I'm on the stage, but mostly it's my teammates that I listen for.
With her World Championship win, she would begin to feel the pressure already being shouldered by her women's foil teammates. But she would be driven by her competitive spirit and buoyed by the support of her club and her women's foil teammates, especially her sister Felicia.
She's been at every step and sort of held my hand through everything. Even high school, Stanford, we both went to Stanford together, and through making Olympic teams. And if she wasn't there holding my hand, I wouldn't have made it through. And it was because of her that we've both been very successful.
Competitive instincts would help her find a way to win, seizing a critical moment en route to her Junior World Championship win.
I loved that. I loved winning one touch over the other person. There's a small vignette kind of about my experience as a 10-year-old fencer. I was at the tournament, and Nat tells me this all the time. Nat is now a head coach at my fencing club. And Nat says, I remember that Buckie told you before you got onto the fencing strip to do a beat attack. And you walked up and you were supposed to test, and you go, and like, go ahead and make the attack. And the girl started to cry. And I just went back to my line and put my mask on and waited for her to stop crying so I could do 5 more of those. So, I mean, that's how I approach fencing, and sort of how I approach everything, I guess.
In the approach to the Sydney Olympics, Iris would suffer a serious knee injury. It would break her competitive momentum and sow the seeds of doubt. But she rebounded in 1999 at the World Championships in Seoul, Korea, with an historic medal win, driven by her love of the sport and by the opportunity to realize a long-held dream.
I think after my injury, like, I came back to fencing, and I didn't know what my game was anymore. And now, like, I'm figuring out again, like, what my game is and what I'm capable of doing. I finally realized that, like, I'm really fortunate to be where I am. I'm really fortunate to have all my limbs intact. I'm really fortunate to have a skill that I can win a medal with, and that I can travel places and do this skill that I have.
Just like anyone who's injured going before a big tournament, you always have to battle that fear of, I can't trust my body, I can't trust myself. But I went into that competition and I thought, if I just don't, I just got to do it. I just got to go in, I just got to do it. So when I was fencing Turini, it was an honor. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I wanted anything, everything. I would have given anything to have fenced her. And I was actually behind. I ended up being 12-8. I kept getting touch after touch. I was just focused on getting touches. That was it. How am I going to get the next touch? How am I going to get the next touch? So I was very present in the moment. And then somehow I hit the 15th touch. I mean, I could have kept going after that. That's the weird part, because I was just so intense about playing the game with her and going touch after touch that I wasn't even thinking about if they were going 15. So it was an honor. It was an honor to fence with her, and it was an even greater honor that I got to beat her. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Iris went on to qualify for the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. The women's foil team fenced well, upsetting a strong Hungarian team to reach the medal round. There they faced Germany and the opportunity to win the first medal in a team competition since 1948 and the first women's team medal ever. But they suffered a crushing defeat on a controversial call that ended the closely fought match. The following year in World Championships, they again met Germany in the medal round, this time avenging their Olympic loss in a record-setting come-from-behind performance. Iris would never really fully recover from her injury, the arc of her career cut short. But she would take the lessons she had learned into her new career as a fencing coach at the Rochester Fencing Center, the club where she came of age, which she now owns with Felicia.
I think if you're able to kind of keep some sort of perspective in winning and losing, it helps you, because I think that when I started to struggle a little bit, later in my career, I had no perspective. I didn't know how to deal with losing. And these kids now, I kind of teach them how to deal with losing and how to pull away and to have some perspective and to look at the loss and to learn from it. So people who come behind you are benefiting from the fact that you're cutting through the space, through the air. So you're kind of drafting behind them and you're speeding up because they're able to cut through. And I tell them that's kind of what I did. I kind of cut through. And I, in some ways, I'm really proud that I feel like I helped and that I was a front runner and that I was a trailblazer. I loved winning one touch over the other person. I made grown men cry. They heard the national anthem for the first time. How am I going to get the next touch? How am I going to get the next touch? So I was very present in the moment. That's how I approach fencing, and sort of how I approach everything, I guess.